Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
Now you can see that the object was com.hello.hello world at hash code. The object has created for hello world. Let us go and execute the get message. The get message will be obviously null because we are not going to provide, we haven't provided any kind of information to the message, even with hello world.java, or we didn't call the setter at first. Ten minutes back, we have discussed about the dependency injection concept. By using dependency injection, you can inject the properties automatically by Spring Framework. That means you can embed or inject all the properties that are required for your bean as well. When you are asking the bean, currently in my main method, I am asking to get an instance of the bean. When you are asking an instance of the bean, it will create an instance based on the configuration, and it will provide that instance to you. And if you have the capability of providing the properties, currently my hello world has a property called message. If you can configure the properties as well, it will directly inject the value to the property and it will provide that particular instance to the user. So within your bean tag, you can specify the property name value pair. So currently my property is, what is the name of the property? Message is your property name. And you want to configure a value for this. I'm just writing a static value here. This is Spring example. This is my actual message that I want to inject to message property. Spring, what it will do is, when you are asking for an object, currently you are asking for a bean object, it will come here and it will verify whether the bean was available or not. Currently the bean was available. It will create an instance of the bean and it will verify, are you asking the Spring framework to inject any kind of properties? So here at this level you are using IOC, and at this level you are using DI, dependency injection. Short form is DI. So now when a Spring has created an instance of this hello bean, it will verify, are you asking Spring to inject any kind of properties? Yes, I am asking Spring to inject my message property. Then Spring will execute the setter method for the property that you have specified. Then it will return that whole object That means during your object return, it will consist of hello bean, as well as it will also consist of the message property already available in our in our hello bean itself. Here, if I specify some other property, I'm writing MSG. You can see that your Spring XML is throwing an error specifying that no setter found for property message in class com.hello.hello void. So whenever you are writing any kind of properties, the property should contain a setter method within your bean class. So currently I am able to set the property. If you want, I will write a statement here. Setter method hello world, setter method called by Spring Framework. I will write the constructor also, the default constructor public hello world. Hello world default constructor called. So I'm just writing only for our reference. So now come back to our hello world test and execute the code one more time. This time you can see that you are asking for a bean, then it will verify the spring.xml file, and here you are asking to create an instance. You can see that default constructor called by Spring Framework, and once after that it will look for this particular property and it will call the setter method. You can see that the setter method has called, and once after that it will return the whole object to your hello object reference. Now you are printing the object, and once after that you are printing the message which was already set by your Spring Framework. Here you can see that you are able to retrieve the message which was set by Spring Framework. Did we call setter method? No. We have informed the Spring Framework to inject the property directly during the object creation. That's what Spring Framework has done, and you are able to see the response or get message directly here. Now let us take a second case. Let us write one more class, our employee class. So our employee class consists of private integer employee ID, private string employee first name, private string employee last name, designation, salary. Finally, this will consist of setters and getters. So generate setters and getters, and we'll add one more business method, public void print details. This will just print the information like employee ID, has salary, currently I'm writing only a simple message with our print details method. We are supposed to write a contract interface, and we are supposed to move all the methods there. So currently I'm not going to do that. Now come back to our Spring XML file, and I want to refer the employee from my hello world. That means I want to use employee dot print details. Here I am calling employee dot print details before, I'm sorry, I will write in get message method, not in constructor. So to have the employee object, I need to create the setter and getter, because this will be dependency, this will be injected by our Spring framework. So I have created setters and getters as well for our employee object. Now come back to our Spring XML file. Currently our employee is a separate bean itself. That means you need to inform to the Spring container that I have one more bean. What is the name of the bean? com.hello.employee. If you didn't point the class name also properly, Spring will throw an error at the XML file itself. ID equal to employee bean. And I have several properties, normal properties. I have employee ID, I'm setting it as 100. And I have salary property, and I'm setting this as 1000. I'm not going to write any kind of employee first name or last name. I'm just going to ignore those things. See, if you have the properties set, Spring will be going to use dependency injection and it will set the properties. If you don't have the properties, yep.
Sorry, can you please go back to that Hello World Java? What you did the last step? You create something right here. Okay, you create that.
I have created employee and I have created setters and getters for employee.
Only those two, right?
Yeah. So now I have created the bean class and I'm setting only two properties. It's not mandatory to set all the properties. But here in my hello world, currently I have message and employee reference. Here employee is a reference but not a normal property value. That means you need to refer to the bean. You need to refer to this particular bean within your hello world. That will be specified by using property name. What is the name of the property? Employee.
Krish, Samya here, Krish, but why are you referring? I did not get that.
See, normally we need the communication between all the classes, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
So, Krish, anything we define in the bean should be referred here?
I didn't get you, Vijay.
So, whatever you define, whatever variables you define within the hello world, they should be referred in the property here?
It's not mandatory. If you want the object to be available during your bean reference, see, currently I'm asking to get the bean here. It will go and get the bean. I'm asking go and get the bean with name or with ID hello bean. Spring will get the bean. That's fine. Previously you have asked the message property to be injected, and it has injected and it has provided that to you.
Yeah, perfect.
But currently you have employee. If you haven't set the employee properly, it won't inject the employee and it won't provide along with your hello bean. So when you call get employee, Sorry,
so
go
does it
ahead.
automatically create the EMP bean?
Oh yeah, let me complete this one.
Okay.
So currently, with my hello world, I have two properties. The first one is message. I'm able to hook up message properly, and the next one is employee. Employee is a separate object, but not a simple property to set the value. That's the reason you are supposed to use one more tag, which is reference tag. Previously, we have used value tag. The reference tag is used to refer to any of the existing beans. So currently our employee bean, this is our employee bean. That means during the hello world object creation, it will inject the message and it will see that for property name employee, I am referring to existing bean, EMP bean. The EMP bean was available at this level, and this is the required configuration for employee bean, and it will create an object for employee, and it will inject all these properties first, and it will return the employee bean, whatever that was created based on this particular configuration, and it will make it available to your EMP bean. So that means finally your EMP will associate to a employee object, and when you call, currently I'm calling employee.printDetails method. When you call emp.printDetails, the emp print details, I have already set employee ID and I have already set salary. So I will directly fetch these two values because these two are already injected by our Spring framework based on these two configurations. So now come back to our test class. See, currently I can directly refer EMP bean and I can convert that to employee and I can get the details directly. But what we are trying to do, normally we need the communication between two different classes. We want the communication from servlet to processor, processor to employee DAO, and employee DAO, it might require access to employee form bean. That means for Java, it's not required to work only on a single class file. We want the work to be done by the respective classes. That means we'll divide the code in such a way that the work will be segregated between all the Java class files. See, when we are writing employee class, come back to our normal structs application. We have divided our address details separately as address class, which consists of city, state, and zip code. We have employee class with all the details, and our employee class is referring to address class. Why didn't we write the city, state, zip code in our employee class itself? Because employee won't directly interact with city, state, and zip code. Only address will interact with city, state, and zip code. That's the reason we need to have the communication between the objects, and you should ask or you should inform to the Spring framework to load the dependencies automatically, but not by ourselves. Now come back to our hello world test. I'm referring to hello bean only. So now I got hello bean, and I'm calling hello object dot get message. Anyway, this was already called. So in hello object dot get message, the get message, I'm calling employee dot print details. So that means it will go to print details and it will print those two details as well. Let us execute this one. Default constructor called, setter method called, object created, get message we are calling, and here you can see that employee ID 100 has salary 1000. So that means it has worked properly and employee reference has worked or set properly. Let us say I am commenting this one. Now if I call this one, if I call our get method, if I call our get message, our get message, it is trying to call print details, whereas employee doesn't have any memory representation, which means you are calling a method on a null object, which means it will throw null pointer exception. You should configure properly when you are using dependency injection. This is the second approach. Next approach. We are about to come to that place, Jitin. The third approach is, currently we have seen property injection, reference injection. That means we are able to store the data, we are able to store or inject the properties based on property tag. There is one another way, which is constructor injection. Currently in hello world.java, you are calling the default constructor. You can write parameterized constructor as well, public hello world, string message. So I don't want to call the setter method for injecting the property. I just want to set based on my constructor, my parameterized constructor itself. Write a parameterized constructor. Now we need to inform to the Spring framework that I don't want to configure the property like this. I'm commenting that, and I want to configure the property based on constructor. The constructor configuration will be specified based on constructor argument, and name will be the name of the parameter that you want to configure. Currently we have only one constructor available. It's not required for you to specify the name as well, because Spring understands that there is only one parameterized constructor available, and it will easily call the constructor with this particular value as a string message, and it will invoke our parameterized constructor. Let us come back to our test client and execute it one more time. Hello world parameterized constructor called by Spring framework. So Spring understands that you are expecting the parameterized constructor to be invoked when you are specifying constructor argument. Let us say you have some other constructor with integer, then specify at the type level with java dot lang dot integer. Then Spring will invoke the constructor with integer argument. Yeah, you can add one more constructor argument. Either you can set the parameters based on setter property, or you can go ahead with constructor argument as well. We have mentioned that we can use either the core module or application context module, which was developed on top of Bean Factory. Application module, it was developed on top of Bean Factory. And application context also, we can also use application context to load our Spring XML file and create the beans as well. So the second approach will be no need to change anything at this level. The second approach will be by using application context. For application context, there is one other class. Class path XML application context, and directly you can provide the name of the file. This will look for the class path. This will look into the class path and it will verify for spring.xml file in the class path. With 2.5 and above, the XML Bean Factory was deprecated. In the sense, you are not supposed to follow this approach to create number of beans, and you should go with class path XML application context only. There are several other classes just like application context. You can just go ahead and take a look at the application context implemented classes. Second one is file path XML application context, which you can use to refer to your local disk file. Currently, you are referring to the Spring XML file, which is available on class path. The file path XML application context will refer to some file which is available on your local disk or some other location. The XML Bean Factory, it is a deprecated one. That's why you are seeing a strike at this level. Whenever you see the method the class got deprecated, it will be specified like this. There will be a warning at this level, but you are going to get all the functionality without any issue. Even though it is deprecated, you are going to get all the functionality. There won't be any issue with that. Now, make use of the same code. No need to change any kind of code. Instead of this, you just need to specify context. That's it. You will contain the same method and you are going to work in the same way. But here you can see that the factory was loaded by XML Bean definition. Now it will be loaded by your application context. Let us go and execute this. You can see that it was loaded by class path XML application context, and it has read the resource, and it has called the parameterized constructor, same as that of our previous output. The difference between Bean Factory and application context factory.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.